What's going on, everybody? This is your boy James Cheef, and I'm back at you with the Cheef Report. Tonight, I have Pastor Edie Darling on the line with me, and today we're going to discuss her men's conference, which she calls Restoring Order, Take Your Place Men's Conference. And it's from her coalition. I don't know if that's the right word, but her movement that she calls Three is Enough. And she's doing a lot to mentor men and women and bridge some gaps that need to be bridged here in America. So how you doing today, Pastor Edie?
I am fantastic, Chief. Thank you so much for inviting me again on the Cheef Report. It is truly an honor.
Oh, no doubt. You're always welcome here. Always.
Thank you.
So how have things been going with you?
They have been going fantastic. I think with anything, as we move through life, we kind of hear about the different things going on in the community, and it teaches us how to continue to pray, not only for our leaders, but our communities and so forth. But overall, things are going good.
Yeah, praying for our leaders. I remember from the last interview and talking to you as well that one of your passions is to kind of be the spiritual guidance for the elected officials. Can you get into that some more, and how's that been going?
I think with anything, as I explained, scripturally speaking, we as ministers and pastors are mandated to pray for those who have been placed in leadership over us. And as a result of that, I personally take that to heart, that in all of my time of being a minister, that I pray for our leaders, whether they are in a public arena or whether they are in an elected official or whether they are your bosses at work.
Right. It's needed everywhere. We need it everywhere.
So, but my heart that I was explaining to you, that the Lord really laid it upon my heart to pray for those that are in government. Because they are really over us, whether it's federal or whether it's state or whether it is local municipalities.
Yeah.
But my heart has really been pushed for Washington because, as with anything, we elect officials into office, and we will hope that they are doing what they're supposed to do as far as be the voice for the people, and that they have an ear to hear what thus saith the Lord, so that way they can then be more open to be an advocate for those that they are elected to serve.
Right. Beautifully said.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I pray consistently that whether that door is open, I'm just letting everybody know that if they need me, trust me, I'm there for them.
And that's to the candidates that are now
yes, candidates that are running for office, those that are in office. I think that it's very important. As I always looked at, Billy Graham. Here was Billy Graham, who was, I don't want to say had the ear of those that were in leadership, but that he made himself available to those that are in leadership. And here's the thing, he's no longer with us, sadly. So somebody else has to be ready to take the torch and say, okay, Lord, I hear we need somebody. So it's very important to be able to come candidly and talk to a candidate and say, listen, yes, I understand about separation of church and state. I get that. But what I'm saying is that there is a higher power that's higher than you.
Yeah.
And so it's best to be in tune with that higher power so that way you can ensure that you, whatever that higher power is for that person, you get that, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
But that they're in tune to the higher power.
Yeah.
My higher power, you already know, I've told you Jesus is the Lord and Savior of my life.
Correct.
But I understand that not everybody, feels the same way. But at least we could say whether they meditate, that they can get connected to the one true source, and that is God.
Right, definitely. And that's not a message that you hear at all in politics. And I feel blessed that I'm the one you chose to get that message out, use my platform to get that message out. So I thank you because that is prayer and religion is definitely needed in our country and in our politics. So I thank you for coming on and expressing that. And I hope that the word travels from here and it gets to the ears that you're trying to reach.
Thank you very much, Cheef. Thank you.
No problem.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so what's going on with the Three is Enough Men's Conference that's happening in Palm Harbor, Florida, April 28th, correct?
Yes, this coming Saturday in Palm Harbor, Florida, it's going to be at the New Hope Church, located at, if you don't mind, it's located at 455 Revere Road, Palm Harbor, Florida, 34683, and it's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and it includes a continental breakfast. And if anybody is interested in, pre-registering or registering for it, they can always go to Edie Darling 3isenough.com to do that. We have some dynamic speakers. As I mentioned to you, we have Pastor Nick Panico. We have First Lieutenant Joseph McCall, and we have the CEO of New Life Solutions, Saul Sean. So we have some dynamic heavy hitters who are ready to pour into the men who come to this conference. Pastor Nick is going to be talking about what I need to succeed. What man doesn't want to know about that?
And then if they don't want to know about it, something's wrong.
Something's wrong. And then you have Joseph McCall, First Lieutenant Joseph McCall, who's going to be talking about telling the men to fall in. And then you have Saul Pashan, who's going to be talking about no more butts. You know, we're making excuses, men. No more butts. I don't want to.
Yeah, you know what? Because, you know what? I'll buy some tickets if men need them because I'm tired of women complaining to me about men. So, yes, go to the men's conference because men really need to step the game up. It's bad. It's bad. You know, women are like really.
As I explained to you, Cheef, the name of this conference is Restoring Order, Take Your Place Men's Conference. Yeah. As I went back to the Garden of Eden, when we talked about, the excuses that were made when God had given, here is Adam, he gave him, the laws of the land, so to speak, and to be able to convey that over to Eve. And yet when Eve was being deceived, and, here she gives the fruit to Adam, and when God said, what's up? I'm using it in layman's terms, okay?
Yeah. I like how you said, I like how you said when she was being deceived.
Yeah.
A little bias there, huh?
She was being deceived. And so here's Adam, who was responsible to say, put that fruit down, babe.
That's how we do it now. That's how we do it now. When Adam was supposed to be responsible and say, put that down. Put that down. Let me tell you what God said. Where'd you get that fruit from? And so, but let me continue. So then here's God who says, okay, what happened? And then he says, that woman you gave me? So then he wants to blame God and say, wait a minute, it's all your fault because you gave me that woman who went and got deceived by this serpent over here, and we in the state we in because of her. Wow, that's a whole lot of interpreting going on right there.
All right, but I digress. But going back to what the men, when we talk about this conference, that there's been an out of order. Yeah. And we could take this out of order to many different levels. But really what we're trying to say is to the men, we understand, as you talked about, there's been a demasculinization of men. Yeah. Men don't really know their roles in the country, the things that we're seeing where women have had to kind of step above and do some things where, unfortunately, we find a lot of our men we find them in prison. Yeah. We find them away from families. And so now it's just bringing them back into a place of order that once they find themselves, that they can say, okay, I know who I was created to be in the beginning. I was created to be a creator. I was created to be an umbrella for my family. I was created to be a protector of my family. I was created to help lead and direct my family and be an ear to the Lord and share what I said the Lord. Not necessarily minimizing the woman's role or minimizing the children's role, but a woman can find safety knowing that the man who's there in her life, that he's got an ear to the Lord, that she can feel comfort of saying, I trust you. And so when we bring that back into a perspective, then family comes back into a true unity. Because we have seen, as you said, we've seen a demise of family on all levels, whether we take it back, to slavery, whether we take it back to other areas in our lives, where family was being pulled away. And as we see with, men, regardless of race, are going to prison and being away from family. So who's taking care of family? It's
scary to be a man nowadays because there's so much that you can do or say that is wrong. And, since I don't know if the correct phrase is since the roles not have changed, but like you were talking about a minute ago, as far as the roles that the women feel that they have to take on now, that upsets the balance even more, just as much as the man being under attack to where you don't feel safe being a man in public anymore. So the balance is definitely out of whack. And that's, so when you can bring things back into perspective and bring things back into balance. Right. That's what has to be done. Everything is about balance. And, once the balance between male and female was lost, that's just the beginning of the tipping point. That's really all you need in order to create a defunct society and create all of the turmoil and division that's going on, no matter what, whatever it's scripted for, whatever the supposed outcome is supposed to be. As long as you create that division between man and woman and distorting the roles that they play, you're going to have that imbalance. And I think it's a very good thing that what you're doing, because it is needed, it especially. And I think one thing I want to say is that you talked about the out of balance that have taken in the roles of women. If we can touch on that for a moment, and I'll use myself. I love using myself as an example because I'm not ashamed of my past. I thank God where God has brought me from to be where I am today. But, I was a teenage mother, and the father wasn't in the picture. Okay. And I remember my mother saying to me, you're now going to have to be mom and dad to a young boy. Yeah. Of course, I can be a mama to a daughter. I can be a mother to a son. But how am I going to be a father? But understand the things that we are taught, right? We are taught that we can step into that role of being a father. So I took that literal. You get it, right? Oh, yeah, definitely. So imagine if I took that as being literal, how do you think how many others are taking that role as being literal to say, I have to be mom and dad? Yeah. So then it breaks down the possibility or puts a roadblock up for the man that does come into your life, because I did get married. And it creates a roadblock to be able to say to the man, I trust you. Wait a minute. I've had to be mom and dad I don't know how to put that hat down. Right. So I don't know how to put that role down. And that's another thing that can be intimidating for a man. It's it's like, how do I play my role without either being demonized or feeling like I'm not supposed to play my role? Case in point, if the woman is playing that role. So, it's good that. So then you have to, So then you have to go back. Remember how I talked about before when I said you have to go back to the root. You have to then go back to the root causes of why this person feels the way that they feel. So that way we can walk happily in balance of being mom, being dad, being in a relationship of family, right? So that way somebody can sit back and say, okay, I'm comfortable in my role. I don't feel like I have to play two parts here. I can be me and still give my love, give my compassion, give my understanding, give my nurturing, and be mom. So, but I like to use myself as an example because I like to tell people that these are
some of the downfalls that we found ourselves, why we are not successful in relationships.
Yeah.